Have you ever said to a bunch of blacks that there's no such thing as racism?
No, but I walked in a big hip hop studio for a podcast. The No Jumper, Adam 22, the guy that let his wife have sex with a black man. Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, it's very satanic stuff, but in the studio I said, I'm the only nigga here. And everyone looked at me. And after that episode, nobody fought me or anything. I got a 99% approval rating from the black community.
Yeah. Have you ever considered running for office, like in politics?
I mean, definitely as I grow older, I'm not gonna just keep doing funny stuff and all this stuff. I'm definitely, one of my heroes is Malcolm X. I know he's a Muslim and stuff, but I loved X. By any means necessary, I will change this land. Because changing the US has an effect, like Brexit, worldwide on everything. And man, Jesse, I was the last generation that played outside with bikes. I didn't have iPhones and all this gay Instagram shit. Right? That came like way later in high school. But dude, the good old days it was like the Garden of Eden. These people are killing themselves at 13. They really think because they have some apps that they have good lives. I genuinely believe if we bring the world back to the 1950s without the racism, but with the sexism, I think we can do it.
So do you believe racism exists?
I mean, the way I see it is the devil, really. I think racism, communism, these are just fucking gay liberal terms, right?
And so do you believe racism exists?
No. I believe we don't battle with flesh and blood. We battle with principalities and powers.
100%. You know, as you know, I grew up in Alabama on a plantation under the Jim Crow laws, and there was no such word as racism during that time. It was a spiritual battle. And so
I want to come to the plantation.
You do?
We should make one.
Yeah, that's right.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
This is comedy.
I said that I was going to start a plantation, take the blacks back to the plantation and show them how to work and be responsible.
But you got to really think, the black community, right? Not only do they have the most soul, but they're very misguided because the DNC goes after, the Democrats go after them tooth and nail, right? You see how they vote. But look at a black man. Masculine will not share his woman. He'll pull a fucking gun on you. He won't share his woman. These guys can come to Christ. We can win these guys over. Yeah. And sometimes I see the right wing giving up on the blacks. Now give up on the Mexicans.
So what's wrong with the blacks?
Well, we'll start with a pigment. I'm kidding. So, I think, listen, 100%, I hate answering this because it just sounds like I'm stealing all your stuff, and I really am. They don't have fathers at home, right? And you can see that, the teens lash out, they get loud and stuff like that. And the women aren't so bad. You give the black women a hard time. These women go to church. The only problem is that the black fathers are in the temple of prison, right? But black women are in church. If you get the black men in church, it's game over. You fix the whole community.
Right. But the black women that are in church, they're like held to pay. Their hearts are still wicked. And that's why they're in church hooping and hollering, carrying on, because inwardly they're still wicked.
Because a woman needs a man to go to God. We don't need a woman to go to God.
That's right.
We just have God. So I know you're right about that, but I hate that we shit on the black females when at least they're trying. You know, you see these white women they're never in church. If they're in church, they're trying to f the pastor or something, but I want to give it to the black women. They're at least doing the black dance and all that stuff.
But that's all they can do, dance and sing.
You don't give them any credit.
No.
Everyone else is not going to church. At least they're there.
But just because they go to church, but yet when they leave church, they go home and impatient with the children. They turn the children against the fathers. They have no love. What's the point of going to church?
The dad's got to come back, and instead of fighting, black guys got to stop fighting people on the streets and go beat your kids. Let's go straighten out those kids, right? Give them spanking is legal, right? We could do spanking.
Have you ever said to a bunch of blacks that there's no such thing as racism?
No, but I walked in a big hip hop studio for a podcast. The No Jumper, Adam 22, the guy that let his wife have sex with a black man, a porn star. Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, it's very satanic stuff, but in the studio I said, I'm the only nigga here. And everyone looked at me, And after that episode, nobody fought me or anything. I got a 99% approval rating from the black community because everyone knows nobody gave me the N-word pass. I stole it. That's how you know I'm black.
You black?
I stole the N-word pass, right? Black people steal. Am I crazy?
No, you're not.
And I used to be black. I used to be a drug dealer, a thief, all that stuff. And then I converted.
So listen, you were Muslim at one time, you said?
Yeah, like culturally, I grew up in that kind of
from over in Canada?
Yeah, so we were refugees. We went to Canada by the Clinton Foundations. The Clinton Foundation, I was saved by demons. So in 2015, I was supporting Hillary. And then when I got fired and canceled in my city from my dream jobs for sounding like Trump, I said, oh my God, they're attacking masculinity. And what is this attack on Trump? What is the attack on the straight white male? It's code.
Yeah.
It's an attack on Christianity.
For sure.
Because the whites hold the cross the closest to the heart.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely an attack on Christianity. I absolutely agree. What made you switch from Muslim to Christian?
Right, so basically when I started studying power, like I'm obsessed with power and who rules me, and I found out most presidents, they were like homosexuals and they would go to a different temple, not church, they would go to a Masonic lodge, a temple. There's plenty here. And I started reading about the 30th to 33rd degrees of these Freemasons, and basically they promote Islam, they promote Buddhism. Well, they created these, they promote everything, but the whole theme is they don't reject Christ, but they think Lucifer is the supreme authority, and everything they do, media, politics, banking, is anti-Christ. That's why in the algorithm, those Muslim channels, they go to the top, but people like you get shadow banned.
Yeah.
Everything is an attack on Christianity worldwide. And I read history. Did you know the four winds of the earth, the Gospels were heard by everyone on earth? At one point, Indians were Christian, and they buried that history, because if the news is fake, the history is fake, and the timeline's warped. At one point, everyone on earth, Christianity was the only religion. Religions are just to take you away from the cross, because Christianity is not a religion. It's the default position of God. Everyone in their heart knows the highest level of love is sacrifice. If I jump in front of bullets for my son, that's the highest level of love. And that's Christ died, and we're washed in the blood of Christ. This is the only story of God that makes sense. Every other story sounds like a fucking Harry Potter flick.
So how did your family feel about you converting over to Christianity?
They're just happy I'm not drug dealing and fighting people on the streets and doing all that shit. Because I worked as a nightclub bouncer. I was fucking a lot of women, sinning hard. I was sinning this much, now I sin this much. But to the average guy, this much is this much, right? I'm still bad. I like having sex with models. That's my only vice. The only thing I have to fix.
I could be wrong about this, but I was under an impression that if you're a Muslim, you cannot convert to another religion.
Well, yeah, that's why they started attacking, how can man pee and poo? And they started attacking Christ in the comment sections of my Twitter. And my whole following, the gangsters who protected me were Muslim in my city. My whole following, all the money I made was Christian donators. And I still have 80% of them, but they still love me for what I'm doing, right? Fighting feminism and all the evil. But they started attacking Christ. And you know how Christians turn the other cheek and all that? I start attacking their religion. Then what happens? They find me on the street twice. We talk it out, nothing. Third time, 3 of them. I fight 3. And I kind of started it, but I was fed up. And so I fought these. I have a black eye on twitter.com/ZherkaOfficial, right? And I put it as my profile picture, and they're all making fun of me that I lost. I said, it's 3 goat fuckers, okay? And basically they want me to they're saying that I need to come back and all this. They're trying to guilt trip me. I'm like, what's the largest name of God for all of human history? It's Christ. They try and tell us in 40 years, Muslims will take over. And no, the largest name of divinity. They had an argument saying, what about Muhammad is the most popular name on earth? That's not a divine name. If we go by names that are ascribed divinity, Jesus Christ is the largest name. So I can either go back to being a Muslim and say, my God loses to Jesus Christ, a mere mortal, a man, or that is not a man. That is human form of a man, but that is God. That is the word in flesh. How the can I go to any religion? Because then I would have to say, my God has a smaller clout. My God has a smaller following than Jesus Christ, who's just a prophet. He's clearly not a prophet. That's God.
So, how long have you been a Christian?
2 months.
2 months.
But I tried my first prayer years ago to God, and it worked. Then I was too afraid to pray for anything else. Just sweat by the brow, did everything on my own. This time was a little different, and I said Jesus Christ. And it was very hard because I felt like a traitor. But let me tell you something. If you're a Muslim and you're coming to Christ and you feel like you're betraying your tribe, remember your tribe is betraying God.
So do you, as a result of being a Christian, do you have perfect peace?
Absolutely not. But compared to where I was,
Right.
I was about to kill myself. So I'm way better now.
Right.
But again, I feel no matter who you are, every morning you wake up as a satanic atheist and you battle back to God. I really feel that you don't just flip the switch. Every day you have to become a Christian again. You have to try, right? You have to pray. You have to do some acts. You have to, you really have to just you can't say it's a fairy tale in your head. You have to feel like you're being washed by an infinite, divine being.
Do you believe that it's possible to have perfect peace?
No, you do. But
Yeah, but why don't you believe that?
Because it reminds me of that gay fat ass Buddha. Buddha, perfect peace. I don't think. I feel like
Buddha talk about perfect peace.
Yeah, I mean, isn't enlightenment perfect peace? I don't think.
I'm not sure about Buddha.
I think you can, definitely, because the point of life is not to be happy; it's to reduce suffering. But I don't think you'll ever reduce it to 0%. I don't believe.
But Christ came that we might have perfect peace.
Again, perfect is a word that I ascribe to God. I don't think humans can be perfect at anything. Literally nothing.
Not at peace. But let me ask, so who would you were raised by both your parents?
Yeah.
And who were you closest to?
Definitely mom. I think most boys are closer to mom.
Right. And why not your father?
He was working all the time, extremely masculine.
Oh, I see. And so have you forgiven your mother for the mistakes she made with you?
Yeah, because a lot of it was, there's a psychic kind of nonverbal agreement a son has with a mother where she says in the ether, in the mental plane, the air, she says, son, never leave out in the world and become a man. Stay a boy and I'll just protect you.
Yeah.
And the son says, mom, don't leave me and I'll never go out and be a real man. And really, I was in for a rude awakening when I joined the real world, when I found out that $10 an hour doesn't cut it. I'm homeless, sleeping on couches, doing drugs, and nothing. I have 3 jobs and I can't. I'm being dead. Really, I wish at 14, I adopted that 1950s position of getting a job at 14 and being a man at 14,
Absolutely.
15, 16. And I hate saying this because I want them to finish school or whatever. I wish I quit high school and just went to work.
Yeah.
I know so many friends who
Absolutely,
just
man.
quit high school. They saved up for a down payment on a house. Man, I wish I did that and learned a trade.
So have you forgiven your mother for imposing her will on you like that?
Yeah, for sure. But I'd never say 100% because I'm sure it'll come up. I'm sure I'll argue with my mom next month.
Right.
But for the
why
big
have
stuff,
you forgiven her so that God can take away her identity from you and give you back yourself? Why have you totally forgiven her?
I can't totally forgive her right now because she sees me fight people on the streets, and then I went away from it, made money, and now she's seeing, now that I'm, the cocaine crusader online, I'm fighting guys on the street, and I will die for Christ. I'll say whatever I want on the internet. Right. She hates that. She wants me to be safe and stuff like that. So we argue about that stuff a lot, where she goes, your online antics are gonna get you killed. And I can really just forgive her and keep doing it, but I respect her opinion so much that if I pick up that phone call, she really gets to me,
When you were growing up and you would ask your father to help you deal with your mother, to tell her to back off, did he help you do it?
Yeah, I remember a quiet car ride where my dad said, son, never take a woman too seriously because they're dominated by impulses of anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's because they always think something's gonna come kill their kids.
Right.
And that stuck with me because I'm like, my dad is so attractive and he's stoic. He's like, he's not like me. He doesn't talk. He's just masculine.
Right.
And I want to be just like my dad. So I never took women seriously again. And I noticed in workplaces, women do start panicking for no reason. I love my mom and aunts to death, but they can't really watch a movie with us without fluffing a pillow, bringing snacks, and they always want to they're always worrying about something, the tea or like the kettle. So I realized oh wow, the masculine frame is dismiss women and get the fucking job done.
So why didn't your father teach you to work and be like him working while growing up? Because my grandfather and my father told me about work. My grandfather taught me. But why didn't your father do that for you?
So my father, definitely for my twin brother and my older brother, they're both master's degree geniuses, like with women and kids, and they did the life correct. Me, I was always a troublemaker, and I was always getting in trouble because I was failing high school. I had no interest in anything I was reading.
Yeah.
The only classes I ever got an A in was physical education and poetry. Not English, like just the poetry semester.
Yeah.
I don't know why, which helped me out with becoming who I am as a leader, the poetic stuff. But failing school made me stray from my dad for the longest time. And, it took me I think 21 years to realize my dad is my best friend. That Kanye line is so true. At 21, everything my dad said, I just absorbed in 1 week. And I went and I said, hey, you were right about everything. And he said, don't tell me. As in everyone comes to this point. My brothers came to it at 17. I was very late. So 100% I was the problem. And yeah, because I felt, failing class, I felt like a fucking loser. And now I realize that everyone who got straight A's, they're broke, and I pulled up in a Ferrari today, So I don't need that school stuff.
And you're right that you can make it in life without having all those degrees and things like that. But what I don't understand is that your father was a strong guy working, and apparently some of your brother was close to him. Why did he just leave you with your mother rather than pulling you away from?
Well, he didn't. He left me with my twin brother. That's who really raised me.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so I'm like a jock, I'm like a caveman, I'm crazy. But why I win every debate online is because my twin brother, he's a therapist, right? And not those gay liberal therapists. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
He changed my life. He's the one who taught me to debate and stuff like that. He said you can't go around the world being an idiot, Because without my twin brother, I'm just a black guy with a gun selling drugs, riding around in a fucking Pontiac or whatever.
Right.
So he kind of changed me, but who is most like my father is my twin brother. They're identical, interests, hobbies, everything.
Are you identical twins?
No, fraternal, actually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And so what was it like for you growing up, seeing that your twin brother is close to your father, but you're not?
For me, it was I'm close to my dad for everything.
I mean, close to your father, but you're not.
I'm close to my dad for everything except the education stuff. He didn't like that I was ditching school. I kept skipping and stuff like that.
Right.
But eventually, grade 12, I had only 4 courses really, but I got straight A's in all 4. I eventually fixed it. I overcame that. And really, that was very late for the maturing phase, but I think I was very scarred because we're all three of us, if you meet us, maybe you can tell with me, but we're from a war zone. So we're all traumatized war children, right? We saw a lot of death and hiding in basements and running around and stuff like that. And I think since I'm the youngest, that's the gayest, right? The youngest is the most flamboyant, kind of can we say the F slur here? No, we can't. But yeah, I was that slur. And so for me, I was the last one to actually grow up because a lot of that war stuff affected me. And you can see it in my content, I go to war now, and I've been in so many street fights working 5 years as a full-time bouncer. So very quiet my whole life. And then as an adult, I started blooming into the loudest motherfucker on the internet. And so I can't tell you why it took so long, but I've never been more proud than when I look in the mirror. And sometimes I feel like it's a little satanic to be that proud. Mm-hmm. But my narcissism comes from the fact that, let's be honest, God, he outdone himself with me. I am a masterpiece. And I really believe atheists, the reason they're atheists is they look in the mirror and they don't see a work of art. They're ugly as fuck. Atheists look in the mirror and go, there's no way some infinite creator made this. But I look in the mirror and I say, you outdone yourself, my